Just Herb Stevens for SnoCountry.com with a skiing weatherman pattern overview for the next several weeks for the western United States, brought to you by the nice folks at UVEX Sports. And my rhetorical question headline this week is, will the Rockies share the wealth? And what I mean by that is, if we take a look at the current watches and warnings are in effect right now on Monday the 2nd of March, you see that there are winter weather advisories and winter storm watches, even a small blizzard warning down here in southern Colorado. But the inclement weather, although it's nice weather for skiers and riders, extends all the way from Montana down to central Arizona in the higher elevations. Meanwhile, in the Cascades and down into the Sierra, aside from a few snow showers going on in the Sierra, they're high and dry again, but at least someone in the west is getting some snow, and a few folks have been getting a lot of snow. Let's call it a rare powder day, because there haven't been all that many of them this year. And I have to qualify this by pointing out that down here in the southern Rockies, especially down in southern Utah, the snow's been pretty high in moisture content, so I hesitate to call it pure powder. It's a little thicker than that, but nevertheless, down in southern Utah, they've had somewhere around 70 inches of snow in the last week at Brian Head, and that's always welcome, no matter what form it's in, whether it's tapioca or angel dust or pixie dust, whatever you want to call it. Today's jet stream shows a trough in the west. Actually, there are two features to talk about here. First of all is a weaker shortwave trough up here in the northern branch of the jet, and this is going to help deliver colder air down the spine of the Rockies into points east, into the Tetons, and they've had some lower elevation rain in Wyoming the last day or so, light rain, but it'll change it over to snow, and you'll see some snow in the northern Rockies, Central Rockies, in northern Colorado over the next couple of days. Same thing in the Wasatch. And meeting that cold air will be moisture circulating out of this trough. So when you blend the moisture together with the cold air, that means snow. And some of the snow that's been pounding the southern Rockies will be expanding northward into the Wasatch, the Central Rockies around Steamboat, and to some extent up into southern Wyoming. It looks as though over the next couple of days, Jackson Hole should pick up a half a foot or so. Today's surface map shows some snow associated with that northern branch shortwave. For the time being, the latest slug of moisture is not really causing a lot of snow here in the Four Corners region, but we know with that upper low spinning over the southwest that it's only a matter of time before more moisture comes northeastward. We look at the visible satellite picture, and I see something I haven't seen in several weeks looking at these western shots, and I mentioned these early in the season. These open cell cumulus clouds, they all kind of look like the letter C if you look carefully, or perhaps a piece of calamari if it's almost closed or entirely closed with a weak wall. Nevertheless, whatever form it's in, and my way of describing them is lacking, I know, but these open cell cumulus clouds indicate cold air, and cold air has penetrated all the way down the California coastline, and it will continue to deepen, the cold will, over the next day or so, and that's causing some of these snow showers I referred to in the central and northern Sierra today. The heavy cloudiness is over here in Utah and northern Arizona and stretching eastward into Colorado and northern New Mexico, associated with the upper trough that's sitting down over southern California. The latest radar shows a slug of moisture that's pretty sizable over Arizona. This will be pivoting north and northeastward over the next day or so, and that's going to renew the snow around Brian Head and bring the snow into Crested Butte and Telluride, and eventually it's going to make it up to the resorts along Interstate 70 as well. The heaviest moisture, though, will be down here closer to the source, and the snow amounts are just going to keep adding up. Over the last 4 or 5 days, Taos has had 4 feet, Wolf Creek's had 42 inches, Telluride's had about 2.5 feet, Crested Butte close to 2.5 feet as well, and about 2 feet has fallen at Vail and Beaver Creek. So there's some great skiing out there now, especially when you consider how bony and how spring-like the conditions had gotten up until a couple of weeks ago when we started to see this upper-level trough form over the southwest. Tuesday, the trough will start to progress to the east, as will the shortwave trough in the northern branch. It'll be diving southeastward, bringing a renewal of snow into the mountains of northern Colorado. Tuesday afternoon, you can see that depicted on this forecast with the snow coming into the Wasatch and coming down toward Interstate 70. We get to Wednesday afternoon, and both troughs will be moving to the east. Meanwhile, the ridge will start to poke its way into the coastal ranges, and you know what that means. That's going to shut off the snow for a while, and you can see on the Wednesday afternoon surface map, the snows will be ending on the east side of the Continental Divide in Colorado and in northern New Mexico as the system pulls out into the plains, and then the warmer, drier weather will ensue as we go ahead to Thursday, and notice that the ridge is expanding inland. So the new snow is nice. Get out and enjoy it because temperatures are going to be trending upward probably for anywhere from a week to maybe as much as 9 or 10 days once this ridge pokes its way inland from the Pacific. Snowfall over the next 5 days, concentrated in Utah and Colorado, some pretty good amounts here in Wyoming, but it looks as though the action is going to be to the east of the Tetons with the next week or so, and there'll be some pretty good snow, all things considered, in this lean year in the higher elevations of the Sierra. The Canadian snowfall forecast breaks down pretty much the same way, and Telluride's a nice place to be, purgatory as well, if you have the choice over the next several days. A 7-day jet stream shows that ridge again moving onshore, but if we go to 10 days, notice that the ridge will have migrated into the middle of the country, and that's when I think we have our next shot at seeing some substantial moisture come in off the Pacific. That's 10 days down the road, probably through about 15 days from now. The Southern Oscillation Index, which I discussed last week, has turned positive once again, and that suggests that this ridge should move into the eastern part of the country and allow for some troughing about 10 days down the road in the west. So I'm a little optimistic that by the time we get to the middle of the month, we'll get a renewal of the delivery of moisture that's worth sneezing at into the west, and specifically into the coastal ranges, because they're missing out on the fun that's going on right now with the upper low down over Southern California, bringing all that snow into the central and southern Rockies. 15 days down the road, you see there's a fetch on the Canadian ensembles suggesting the ability to get some moisture inland, and in general, I like that idea, but we're going to have to wait until after about the 12th or so, after this round of snow we're currently having, before we get another reasonable shot at significant snow once again. So in summary, the southern Rocky snows will continue for the next couple of days. It should be done by Wednesday night. The snow is going to reach into the central Rockies Tuesday into Wednesday, and light snow is going to be falling in the northern Rockies the next couple of days, the 3rd and the 4th of this month, from the northern branch shortwave trough. The ridge is going to return late this week and just keep things quiet for a week or so, and then our next shot at meaningful snow after the 12th of the month. That's it for now. I'm meteorologist Herb Stevens, the skiing weatherman for SnoCountry.com. This feature again brought to you by UVExSports.com. Enjoy your sliding and get out there and take advantage of that new snow. Take care.